You might not accept it to avoid feeling bad, but I'm telling you with certainty, you've experienced this. A small, guilt-laden pleasure. As if justice has been served in the universe. That tiny joy bubbling up inside when your neighbor's new car gets scratched. The uncontrollable smile creeping onto your lips when your coworker's presentation bombs. The strange satisfaction you feel while reading about a celebrity's scandal on social media. You're a good person, right? Full of empathy, compassion, someone who wants the best for others. So why? Why does seeing others fall make you feel so relieved? Your brain is playing a game. This game encourages you to be a good person while secretly producing dopamine in the dark. You're not aware of it. It's a Thursday morning. Your alarm goes off, you open your eyes, and what's the first thing you do? Phone in hand, fingers on autopilot, you open social media. Scroll, scroll, scroll. And then you see it. That friend, you know, the one who always posts perfect vacation photos, always smiling, whose life seems apparently flawless, has shared something. But this time it's different. Broken heart emoji. Going through tough times, it says. Their relationship has ended. And you, how do you feel? You're sad, of course. You comment, get well soon. But deep inside, that small, shameful, unspeakable emotion is there. A sense of relief. Maybe even a little satisfaction. So their life isn't that perfect after all. And right after comes the tsunami of guilt. What kind of person am I, you ask yourself. But in reality, you're just an ordinary human. In fact, you're behaving as if genetically programmed to evolve. The Germans invented a word for it, Schadenfreude. Pleasure derived from others' misfortune. But it's not just a German word. It's one of the oldest, most primitive, most hidden emotional mechanisms in your brain. And it's in all of us. You're at the coffee machine. Sarah's next to you, you know, the Sarah who got promoted last month. The one who always delivers polished presentations in meetings, the boss's favorite, always finishing her work on time. As you stir your coffee, she's on the phone. Her voice is tense. No, Mom, they rejected my project. 3 months of work down the drain. Did you perk up your ears? Of course not. You were just listening. Because you were there. But what's that feeling inside? That warm, spreading, almost electric buzz. You're not a bad person. But your brain's ventral striatum, the reward center, is popping popcorn right now. A dopamine waterfall. Why? Because evolution programmed you this way. The dark truth is that someone else's downfall is your rise. Is that true? In the social hierarchy, every person who falls increases your chances of climbing one more step. Your brain knows this. Your subconscious is doing the math for you. And you? You're just feeling a strange sense of relief. Consider Dr. Susan Fisk's research from Princeton University. In the early 2000s, she put people in fMRI machines and showed them photos of various groups: homeless people, the wealthy, celebrities, ordinary folks. What did she find? When looking at the homeless, people's medial prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for empathy and human connection, shut down. It's as if the brain says, this isn't a person. This is an object. But the most fascinating part was elsewhere. When viewing successful, wealthy, high-status people, envy centers in people's brains lit up. And then the researchers did something else. They showed scenarios of those successful people falling. Scandals. Failures. Downfalls. And guess what happened? Their reward centers exploded. Like they'd done cocaine. Like they'd won the lottery. Our brains are designed to take pleasure in others' pain. You're thinking now, but that's not me. I'm empathetic. You're right. You are. But here's the paradox. You can be full of empathy and full of Schadenfreude. At the same time. For the same person. You're 15. Walking down the hallway. Ahead of you is that popular girl, the head cheerleader, everyone's favorite, always wearing the best clothes. Her name's Jessica. She always shines. You? You're invisible. One day you come to school and everyone's whispering. Jessica's boyfriend is cheating with someone else. Laughter. Drama. Everyone's talking. And how do you feel? Of course you're upset. Of course you feel empathy. No one deserves to be cheated on. But deep inside, that voice is there. So she's not perfect either. So she hurts too. Just like me. And for a moment, just a moment, you feel better. Less alone. Less like a failure. Is this bad? No. Is it human? Yes. By now you might be thinking, okay, but this only happens in bad people. Or those with low self-esteem. Researchers from Harvard Business School tested exactly that. In a 2013 study, they measured people's self-esteem levels and then told them stories of others' failures. Result? People with low self-esteem felt more Schadenfreude. Makes sense, right? But wait. There's a twist. The same researchers tested high self-esteem, successful, everything's fine people too. And what did they find? They felt Schadenfreude as well. Just for different people. For different reasons. Low self-esteem people took pleasure in the downfall of those they saw as more successful. High self-esteem people took pleasure in the downfall of those they considered morally wrong. We all enjoy someone's downfall. We just pick different someones. Evening. You're home. You open Netflix. And what do you pick? A reality show. Maybe the one where people are stranded on an island competing. Maybe the show about rich families' dramas. Or a talent competition, people's dreams, hopes, and then the jury's brutal comments. Why do you watch? It's entertaining, you say. But what's really entertaining? Their success or their failure? Think about it. Which moments go viral? The super performance or the stage mishap? The singer who nails it or the jury's expression? The reality TV industry is a $60 billion sector. Why? Because we, you and I, enjoy watching others' drama, conflict, failure, and downfall. And here's the most ironic part. While watching, we feel good about ourselves. Because we say, at least I'm not like that. At least my life isn't that bad. Comparison, the silent poison of the modern age. But where does this come from? Why are we like this? Let's time travel. 50,000 years ago. You live in a cave. Your tribe has 150 people. Resources are limited. Food is scarce. Space is scarce. Potential mates are scarce. And the critical question, how will you survive? 2 strategies. First, succeed yourself. Hunt better, be stronger, be smarter. Hard. Takes a lot of energy. Second, make others fail. Or at least, take pleasure in seeing others fail and sharing that in the tribe. Because as they fall, your chances rise. Evolution is a ruthless mathematician. Our ancestors who felt Schadenfreude, who took pleasure in others' failures, used that information, and gained position in the social hierarchy, survived. Reproduced. And passed this program to us. In your DNA, there's a mechanism to enjoy others' downfall. Because once, it provided a survival advantage. But now? In 2025? This program is still running. But it's no longer needed for survival. It just causes pain. To you and to others. 7:30 a.m. The alarm rings. Before opening your eyes, your hand reaches for the phone. Automatic. Unconscious. The screen lights up. Instagram. Facebook. X TikTok. And the scrolling begins. An acquaintance is in Hawaii. Beach. Sunset. Blessed. Scroll. Your former coworker got promoted. Excited for my new role. Scroll. That influencer, you don't even know their full name but you follow them, shows off their new house. Marble kitchen. Pool. Dreams come true. And you? You're lying in bed, in yesterday's hoodie, last night's makeup, a 9 a.m. meeting, head pounding. What do you feel? Then the scrolling continues. And that's when you notice. The same influencer has posted a long caption. Going through tough times. Mental health struggles. It's not what it seems. And in that moment, what do you feel inside? Relief? Satisfaction? So they're not perfect either? In a 2019 study, Stanford researcher Dr. Jeff Hancock found a direct correlation between social media use and Schadenfreude. The more people use social media, the more pleasure they take in others' negative news. Why? Because social media is a constant comparison machine. Every scroll tells your brain, look how happy they are. Look how unhappy you are. Then someone falls. Someone fails. Someone shows their real face. And your brain fires a reward burst. See? You're not alone. You're not a failure. They're just like you. Social media has democratized Schadenfreude. You're no longer just watching the downfall of people in your immediate circle. You're watching it from anyone, anywhere, any status, in real time, high definition. And your brain? It's still acting like it's 50,000 years ago. This is my advantage, it says. But it isn't. Not anymore. Be honest with yourself for a moment. Think about the past week. How many times did you feel that tiny, a very tiny, spark of satisfaction when hearing someone's bad news? A celebrity scandal. A politician's fall. That perfect relative's problems. Your workplace rival's mistake. Never? If you say no, either you're an extraordinarily rare human or you're lying to yourself. Research shows over 95% of people experience Schadenfreude. Regularly. Some less, some more. But nearly all of us. And who do we feel it for most? Dr. Richard Smith from the University of Kentucky identified 3 categories. 1. People we see as more successful than us. That coworker. That relative. That old classmate. The one whose life looks perfect on social media. When they fall, your brain says, now we're even. 2. People we think have an unfair advantage. Born rich. Born beautiful. Born connected. The undeserving. When they fall, your brain says, justice served. 3. People who have hurt us. That boss. That ex. That friend who let us down. When they fall, your brain says, revenge. And here's the key point, these 3 categories cover almost everyone. Because your brain always finds a category. Always a reason. Always an excuse. Los Angeles. Dolby Theatre. The Oscars. The world is watching. Millions of people. A famous actor steps onto the stage. The envelope opens. And the Oscar goes to. The camera pans to the nominated actors in the audience. Fake smiles on their faces. A mix of hope and fear in their eyes. Jennifer Lawrence. The room erupts. Applause. As Jennifer heads up to the stage, she trips on the stairs. Nearly falls. Did the people in the room laugh? No. The applause continued. But at home, in front of TVs, around the world, millions laughed. Twitter exploded. Memes were made. Privileged celebrity can't even climb stairs. Schadenfreude. Live on air. Why? Is Jennifer Lawrence a bad person? No. A successful person. Young. Beautiful. Rich. famous, has everything. And that's the problem. She has everything. We don't. Her stumble, that small, harmless, human moment, reminded us she's like us. She makes mistakes. She's not perfect. And that knowledge, it relieved us. Didn't it? Researchers from the University of Leiden studied the concept of deservingness. Their findings were surprising yet predictable. If someone succeeded deservedly, through hard work, fair means, we feel less Schadenfreude when they fall. But if someone succeeded undeservedly, luck, genetics, connections, we feel much more Schadenfreude. The problem is our brain decides who deserves what. And we often rig those standards in our favor. Everyone who's successful, to us, probably didn't deserve it. Because if they did, would be successful too, right? This logic is twisted. But our brain uses it. Every day. Have you ever felt like a bad person? When you realized you enjoyed someone's downfall. Here's a secret, feeling guilty makes Schadenfreude stronger. Paradoxical but true. According to a study by Dr. Paul Rosen from the University of Pennsylvania, once you notice you're feeling guilty, your brain's reward center activates even more. Why? Because that guilt, I'm a bad person, puts you in defense mode. And your brain thinks, no, you're not bad. Look, that person really deserved it. Here's why. And then? More Schadenfreude. More justification. The cycle continues. Here's the dark truth, feeling Schadenfreude is normal. But judging ourselves for it makes the problem worse. You're in the cafeteria. Tray in hand. You sit at the table. Next to you are two co-workers, Tom and Lisa. Tom says, heard? They fired David. Lisa, really? What happened? Tom, lost a client. Big account. Boss lost it. Lisa, wow. But he always strutted around like I'm the best. Karma. Tom laughs, exactly. Maybe he'll learn some humility now. And you? You quietly eat your food. But what do you feel inside? Maybe you didn't like David. Maybe he really was arrogant. Or maybe he was just successful and that bothered you. But now he's gone. And you're still here. A position opened up. Maybe an opportunity for you? Your brain's anterior cingulate cortex, the region that processes social pain, is working right now. But the ventral striatum, the reward center, is working louder. And the scariest part? All of this happens unconsciously. You just say, wow, sorry for David. And you really are sorry. But at the same time, aren't you also a little pleased? The workplace is Schadenfreude's natural habitat. Because the workplace is the modern tribe. Hierarchy. Competition. Limited resources. Everyone aiming for the next rung. Every person who falls increases your odds. Your brain knows this. Even if you don't. Let's pause here. Take a deep breath. Because at this point, you're probably feeling bad about yourself. I'm not like that, you say. I'm a good person. And you're right. You are both. They can coexist. Here's the magic, feeling Schadenfreude doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. The problem is what you do with the feeling. If you are unaware autopilot. Strategic. Notice but deny repressed. More dangerous. Notice and feel guilty loop. Most dangerous. But if you notice and accept first step. Try to understand second step. Work to move beyond it transformation. AD 80. The Colosseum. 50,000 people in the stands. In the arena, 2 gladiators. One strong, experienced. The other young, terrified. The crowd roars. What do they want? Blood. Downfall. Death. Why? Were these people evil? Barbaric? No. They were just like you. People with families, children, friends. But in the arena, from that safe distance, watching others' pain was entertaining. Fast forward. 1400s France. Public square. Guillotine. The crowd gathers. Same 50,000 people. Different century, same impulse. Fast forward again. 2025, your living room. Your screen. You're scrolling. Celebrity scandal. Politicians fall. Reality show arguments. Any difference? Yes. No blood. No death. But that core impulse? That core pleasure? The same. Throughout human history, we've taken pleasure in watching others fall. This isn't new. It's just more sanitized. More acceptable. More civilized. But at its core? Same mechanism. Now the hard question, is this bad? Morally? Yes. Most of us believe it's a bad emotion. Evolutionarily? No. It's a survival mechanism. Psychologically? Complicated. Because Schadenfreude can be both harmful and, sometimes, useful. Wait, what? Researchers from the University of Groningen found that Schadenfreude, under certain conditions, can provide motivation. How? Like this, that person failed and fell. But I'm different. I'm smarter. I work harder. I will succeed. Is this motivation healthy? Probably not. But does it work? Sometimes. Schadenfreude reminds us everyone makes mistakes. Everyone falls. No one is perfect. And that knowledge, if used right, can be liberating. I can make mistakes too. That's normal. But most of the time? Most of the time, Schadenfreude is just a poison that rots us from within, cuts us off from others, and kills empathy. Night. You're in the bathroom. Staring into the mirror. At your face. Your eyes. And you ask yourself, who am I? Are you a good person? A bad one? Or maybe both? Maybe being human is this complicated dance between the two. Feeling Schadenfreude doesn't make you a monster. But what does it do? It shows you something. It holds up a mirror. And that mirror reflects your darkest fears. I'm not good enough. Here's the truth. At the root of Schadenfreude, there's always the same feeling, inadequacy. Taking pleasure in others' downfall isn't about pulling them down. It's about lifting yourself up, or at least feeling less pain. Less loneliness. Less failure. A neuroimaging study by Dr. Mina Sikara from the University of North Carolina clearly shows this. The brain regions activated during Schadenfreude are ventral striatum, reward center; anterior cingulate cortex, social pain processing; medial prefrontal cortex, self-perception. And the most critical finding? These three regions work together. So your brain is doing this. This person is suffering, this says something about my own self-image, and this makes me feel good. In simple terms, someone else's downfall feels like a shortcut to boosting our own sense of worth. Neurologically speaking. But is it really? Saturday afternoon. A small cafe in the city center. You and your closest friend, let's say Alex. Alex is telling the story. Got a new job offer. Amazing company. Double the salary. Corner office. Career dream. I can't believe it, says Alex. I sparkling. The position I've dreamed of for years. What do you say? Wow, congrats. I'm so happy for you. And you really are happy. Because you love Alex. They're your friend. Your best friend. Still, deep inside, there's another feeling. Tiny and thin, almost invisible. But there. Jealousy. A fleeting flash of jealousy. Why them? Why not me? Then Alex continues, but you know, I'm worried about this project. It's huge. What if I fail? And in that exact moment, what do you feel inside? Relief? Ah, so they're not that perfect. They're scared too. Here's the paradox. We can, on some level, take pleasure in the downfall of even the people we love most, our closest friends, our family. Why? Because seeing they're not perfect reminds us we don't have to be perfect either. This doesn't make us bad people. It makes us scared people. Anxious people. People carrying feelings of inadequacy. And we translate that feeling into, see, they're just like you. They're not perfect. You're not alone. But here's the problem, it's temporary relief. A dopamine hit. Short-lived. And then? Then the same inadequacy comes back. Maybe stronger. The 3 levels of Schadenfreude. Research categorizes Schadenfreude into 3 levels. Level 1, passive Schadenfreude, the spectator. Feeling secretly happy when someone falls. The most common type. Seems the least harmful. But actually the most insidious, because we normalize it and don't even notice. Level 2, active Schadenfreude, the participant. Actively contributing to someone's downfall. Spreading gossip. Saying, did you hear what happened? Sharing the news, with that little thrill. This level turns feeling into action. Level 3, malicious Schadenfreude, the actor. Actively planning or sabotaging someone's downfall. Rare. But real. Usually rooted in deep trauma, rage, or pathology. Most of us live in level 1. Some of us slip into level 2 at times. Very few reach level 3. But here's what matters, each level grows from the one before. If you don't notice, accept, and process passive Schadenfreude, it can slide into level 2 over time. Because your brain says, this feels good. I want more. Let's get involved. Evening. A fancy restaurant. Your first high school reunion in 10 years. Old classmates all around. Some familiar. Some completely transformed. In the corner is her. The popular girl. Head cheerleader. The one everyone envied. How does she look now? Gained weight. Heavy makeup. Ordinary clothes. And when she talks, she complains. About her job. Her marriage. Her life. What do you feel inside? Empathy? Sadness? Or that small, shameful satisfaction? So that bright future never happened. So that perfect life isn't so perfect. And how about you? Maybe you're not perfect either. Maybe you have your own problems. But that night, compared to her, you feel better about yourself. Sound familiar? Professor Tanya Chartrand from NYU has been studying spontaneous social comparison for 20 years. Her findings aren't surprising, but they're unsettling. People compare themselves to others an average of 96 times a day. Once every 10 minutes. Mostly unconsciously. And 70% of these comparisons are upward comparison, measuring ourselves against people we see as better. Result? Constant feelings of inadequacy. A persistent I'm not enough. Then, one of those better people falls. And your brain says, AHA. See? They're not perfect either. Temporary relief. Dopamine hit. And then? We find a new target. A new better person. And the cycle continues. Here's the critical question, can we get rid of Schadenfreude? Short answer, no. Long answer, yes, but not completely. And that's not the goal. Here's the truth, Schadenfreude is hardwired into our brains. It's hardware, not software. So deleting it entirely is impossible. and maybe not even necessary. The goal isn't to stop feeling Schadenfreude. The goal is, notice, I'm feeling Schadenfreude right now. Understand why? What does this say about how I feel about myself? Choose, what will I do with this feeling? Because we can't choose our emotions, but we can choose our actions. Soft lighting. A comfortable chair. Across from you, the therapist, Dr. Sarah. How have you been this week? She asks. Silence. Then you open up. I feel awful. My friend lost their job. And I felt pleased inside. Just for a moment. What kind of person am I? Dr. Sarah smiles. Not judgmental. Understanding. You're a human being, she says. And humans sometimes feel complex emotions. That's normal. But it's not good, you say. I don't want to be that person. Okay, says Dr. Sarah, let's unpack that moment. When your friend said they lost their job, what was under that spark of satisfaction? Deeper down. You think. Really think. And then you see it, fear. I guess. I'm scared of losing my job too. And carrying that fear alone feels so heavy. But when they lost theirs, it felt like I wasn't alone. Dr. Sarah nods. Exactly. Schadenfreude often reflects our fears. Experiencing someone else's pain normalizes our own. And that brings partial relief. Does this sound familiar? What fears lie beneath your Schadenfreude moments? I'm not successful enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy of love. Schadenfreude is a symptom, not the disease. Something else lies beneath. And that something? Most often, our own story of inadequacy. Science Spotlight, Neurochemistry and Schadenfreude. Right now, 3 major chemicals are battling in your brain. Dopamine, the reward chemical. When you see someone fall, your ventral striatum releases dopamine. Something good happened, your brain says. But that good thing is actually bad, someone's pain. The brain doesn't care. Dopamine equals happiness. Simple equation. Oxytocin, the bonding chemical. Interesting finding, if the fallen person is in your out group, not part of your tribe, oxytocin rises. Why? It strengthens your bond with your group. Us versus them. See, we're okay. They're not. Cortisol, the stress chemical. But later, after the Schadenfreude, cortisol spikes. Stress. Guilt. Worry. Did I do something wrong? Am I a bad person? And these 3 chemicals dance. Constantly. In every Schadenfreude moment. Short term, dopamine wins. You feel good. Long term, cortisol wins. You feel bad. And the cycle continues. You quit social media for a week. Completely. No Instagram. No Facebook. No X. No TikTok. Day 1, restlessness. Your hand keeps reaching for the phone. Autopilot. Day 2, boredom. What do I do now? Day 3, relief. You notice your mind is quieter. Day 4, a real conversation with someone. No screens. Genuine. Day 5, you realize you're not thinking about others as much. Not comparing. Day 6, something inside shifts. You feel lighter. Day 7, you return to social media. The first thing you see, someone's breakup story. That familiar feeling inside doesn't come. Or it's much weaker. A 2021 study by Philippe Verduin from Stanford confirms this. People who take a week off social media experience a 40% reduction in Schadenfreude responses. Why? Because constant comparison stops. And when comparison stops, Schadenfreude runs out of fuel. But here's the problem: after a week, we go back. And the cycle restarts. Have you ever noticed? Schadenfreude is strongest when you're most unhappy. When life is good, loving job, happy relationship, good health, someone else's downfall barely registers. Maybe doesn't interest you at all. But when life is bad, jobless, lonely, lost, someone else's downfall feels incredibly satisfying. Why? Because Schadenfreude works like an emotional prosthetic. When you can't create your own happiness, you try to steal it from someone else's unhappiness. But it doesn't work. You know that, right? It never really works. That brief dopamine rush fades. And what's left? More emptiness. More inadequacy. More pain. Night, again. But this time it's different. You look in the mirror and, for once, you truly see. That person, the one who takes pleasure in others' downfall, is someone trying to protect themselves. Trying to feel better. But with the wrong tools. And you realize, you can't lift yourself up by pulling others down. You can't create light from their darkness. The only way, create your own light. How? Solution: 7 steps to freedom from Schadenfreude. Step 1. Notice the awareness. Next time you hear someone's bad news, pause. Just 3 seconds. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Don't judge. Don't analyze. Just notice. I'm feeling Schadenfreude. This simple awareness breaks the automatic reaction. It brings the emotion from subconscious to conscious. Step 2. Dig the excavation. Go beneath the Schadenfreude. Ask, what does this person's fall say to me? Where do I feel inadequate? What fear is this feeding? Most often, the answer isn't about them, it's about you. Step 3. Shift perspective, the shift. See the fallen person, for a moment, as a real human. With fears, dreams, pain, just like you. Think, what are they feeling right now? How would I feel in their place? This flexes your empathy muscle. And empathy is Schadenfreude's antidote. Step 4. Question the questioning. Ask yourself, did this person's fall actually give me anything? Answer, always no. They're still there, with their problem. You're still here, with yours. Nothing changed. Just a fleeting dopamine hit. And now? Emptiness. Step 5. Redirect the redirect. Take that energy, focused on their fall, and aim it at your rise. Change the question. From they fell, I rose, how do I rise? From they failed, I'm satisfied, how do I succeed? Step 6. Rewrite your story. Schadenfreude feeds on the I'm not enough story. Rewrite it. Old story, I'm not successful because I'm not enough. New story, I'm not at my goal yet, but I'm on the way. And someone else's journey doesn't change mine. Step 7. Practice empathy. The final, and hardest, step: next time you see someone fall, actively show empathy. Send a message, heard you're going through a tough time. How can I help? Or at least, silently wish them well. This won't make you perfect. It won't stop Schadenfreude. But over time, it strengthens those muscles. And Schadenfreude's power fades. Same office. Same cafeteria. But you're different. Tom's talking again, heard? They promoted Jessica. In the past, what did it trigger? Maybe jealousy. Maybe Schadenfreude anticipation, let's wait, she'll mess up soon. Now what do you feel? You notice, the automatic reaction is weaker. Still there, but quieter. And you consciously choose, wow, great for Jessica. She really worked hard. And it's not fake. Not automatic. It's chosen. Deliberate. And inside, there's a small but real shift. Schadenfreude and society, the bigger picture. So far we've talked about the individual experience. But what about the societal level? Schadenfreude isn't just a personal emotion. It's also a cultural force. Think of cancel culture. A celebrity, politician, or influencer makes a mistake, small or serious. Then, the internet erupts. Twitter mobs. Boycott calls on Instagram. Everyone's expected to pile on. Why? Sure, sometimes, that person truly needs accountability. They may have caused real harm. But most of the time it's collective Schadenfreude. Thousands of people, all at once, taking pleasure in someone's downfall. And calling it justice. Professor Molly Crockett from Yale studied online outrage. Her finding, when people punished someone online, i.e., cancel them, their brain's reward centers activate, just like in Schadenfreude. We call it social justice. Our brain calls it reward. And the difference matters. If our motivation isn't justice but the dopamine hit, then we're not being fair. We're just looking for an excuse for Schadenfreude. Workplace. Big meeting. 6 people at the table. Discussion, who gets the promotion? 2 candidates. David and Lisa. David, talented but arrogant. Always says I did it. Not a team player. Lisa, quiet but steady. Always in the background. But does the job well. Voting time. Who do you vote for? Objectively, maybe David is more talented. Maybe he delivers better results. But that little, unconfessed feeling inside says, don't vote for David. He's too arrogant. He needs a lesson. And you vote for Lisa. Is this fair? Maybe. Maybe team dynamics matter. But what's the real motivation? Seeing David humbled? Or seeing Lisa rise? The difference changes everything. Historical examples, Schadenfreude and power. 1789, French Revolution. Marie Antoinette walks to the guillotine. The crowd watches. Cheers. Shouts. Justice? Revolution? Or collective Schadenfreude? Probably all of it. But in every individual in that crowd, that dopamine hit. The Queen fell. We rose. 1960s, America. Rich, successful, untouchable celebrities. Then scandals. Falls. Tragedies. The public? Buys tabloids. Reads every detail. Why? So they're not perfect either. 2020s, social media. Every day, every hour, someone falls. Viral scandal. Exposed. Cancelled. And us? We scroll. Watch. Share. And that feeling inside becomes a little more normal each time. Question, is a society without Schadenfreude possible? No. It's human nature. Evolution wired it. But is a society not controlled by Schadenfreude possible? Maybe. And here's how. Awareness education, teach kids in school, not just envy is bad, but what is Schadenfreude, why do we feel it, and what can we do with it? Media responsibility, reality TV, tabloids, clickbait, all feed on Schadenfreude. What if media tried to break the cycle? Highlighted human stories, not just falls? Personal practice, each of us can work with our own Schadenfreude moments. Notice. Choose. The world won't change. But we can. Sunday morning. You're sitting in the park. Next to you, a 7-year-old girl, let's call her Emma. Emma sees another child fall on the playground. The child is crying. Emma laughs. Instantly. Then stops herself. Feels guilty. She looks at you, why did I laugh? Am I a bad kid? What do you say? No, you say. You're not a bad kid. You're just a human kid. But why did I laugh? Emma asks. She really wants to understand. And you explain, slowly, simply. Sometimes, when people see someone else fall, they laugh. Because inside they think, I didn't fall, they did. And that makes them feel relieved. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't help the person who fell. Emma thinks. So what should I do now? Go, you say. Help the child. Ask, are you okay? And Emma goes. She runs. Reaches out to the fallen child. Are you okay? She asks. You watch from the bench. And something inside you breaks. Or maybe, heals. Because you realize, Schadenfreude isn't learned. It's innate. But so is empathy. And we get to choose which one we feed. Emma just felt both impulses at once, the urge to laugh and the urge to help. And you taught her to choose the second. And us? Us adults? Can we still choose? Evening. On TV, the news. A politician, from the party you oppose, is caught in a scandal. Will resign. Your first feeling inside? He deserved it. Finally. Justice served. But pause a second. Is this really justice? Or Schadenfreude? If this politician truly did wrong, corruption, harm, then yes, accountability matters. That's justice. But if what you're really feeling is pleasure in their downfall, just because their politics differ, then it's Schadenfreude. The difference is critical. Because justice moves forward. Builds. Fixes. Schadenfreude? Just destroys. And rots you from within. How to tell the difference? Ask yourself, after this person falls, what will I do? If the answer is celebrate, smile, relaxed Schadenfreude. If the answer is how do we make the system better, justice. One is negative energy. The other is constructive energy. Which do you choose? Neuroplasticity and hope. Brains can change. Good news. Real good news. Your brain is like plastic, moldable. Every thought, choice, action reshapes your neural pathways. When you feel Schadenfreude, notice it, and choose a different response, empathy, understanding, care, you weaken that pathway. And strengthen the alternative. First time? Very hard. Schadenfreude is automatic. Empathy takes effort. Second time? A little easier. 10th time? No longer automatic. Conscious choice. 100th time? You've built a new automation. Empathy automation. Professor Richard Davidson from the University of Wisconsin has studied meditation and empathy for 30 years. His finding? 8 weeks of daily loving-kindness meditation, wishing well for others, reduces Schadenfreude responses by 50%. fMRI scans show ventral striatum, reward center, activity drops. Anterior cingulate cortex, empathy center, activity rises. So, your Schadenfreude muscle shrinks. Your empathy muscle grows. And this is possible. For you. Now. Practical exercise, 30-day Schadenfreude transformation program. Imagine. 1 month. Just 1 month. And your life changes. Days 1 to 7, Awareness Week. Carry a notebook. Or open a note on your phone. Log every Schadenfreude moment. What happened? What did you feel? Why did you feel it? No judgment. Just observe. Like a scientist. By week's end, you'll see patterns. I usually enjoy the fall of this type of person. Why? Days 8 to 14, Understanding Week. Go deeper. In every Schadenfreude moment, ask, what fear of mine does this reflect? Write the answers. For example, co-worker's mistake, I'm afraid of making mistakes. Celebrity scandal, I feel I have to appear perfect. Friends failure, I'm afraid I'm not enough. Schadenfreude is always about you, never about them. Days 15 to 21, Empathy Week. In every Schadenfreude moment, take 60 seconds. Close your eyes. Imagine the fallen person. Really. As human. What are they feeling right now? How would I feel in their place? What do they need? It'll feel fake at first. You'll struggle. But keep going. Train your empathy muscle. Days 22 to 30, Action Week. Final week. Hardest part. Most powerful. In every Schadenfreude moment, take an action. If it's someone you know, text, heard you're going through a tough time. How can I help? If it's a stranger, silently wish them well. Mean it. If it's a celebrity, don't comment. Don't share. Just scroll past. And after each action, ask, how do I feel now? Probably better. Lighter. More human. After 30 days, look in the mirror. And you'll see someone different. Sunday afternoon. Your neighborhood cafe. You're in line. The person ahead opens their wallet. The card drops. Behind the counter. Out of reach. They're embarrassed. The line grows. People get impatient. The person blushes. Sweat beads. Hold you? Maybe you'd smirk. Inside. How clumsy. Now? What do? You step forward. Hold on, I'll get it, you say. You pay for their coffee. They're stunned. Thank you, really, thank you. You smile. No big deal. Happens to all of us. You walk out. And something's inside you. Not dopamine. Something else. Deeper. More lasting. Oxytocin. Connection. Humanity. And you realize, this feels way better than Schadenfreude's dopamine. Facing the brutal truth, Schadenfreude and you. Now let's talk about the hardest part. Be completely honest, brutally honest. When was the last time you truly, deeply, enjoyed someone's downfall? Not just a little satisfaction. Real joy. Maybe an ex. Maybe a former boss. Maybe that friend who let you down. When you heard they fell, lost their job, relationship ended, got sick, what did you feel inside? They deserved it. And maybe you're right. Maybe they did deserve it. Maybe they really hurt you. But here's the question, what did that Schadenfreude gain you? Revenge? No. They're still there, with their pain. You're still here, with yours. Justice? Maybe. But justice doesn't need your Schadenfreude. Justice works without you. Relief? Yes. Temporarily. But then? Then it fades. And what's left? Emptiness. And maybe a little more darkness. Because with every Schadenfreude moment, you lose a tiny piece of your humanity. Small. Unnoticed. But real. And over time, over years, those little losses add up. One day you look in the mirror and see a stranger. Bitter. Resentful. Jealous. In pain. And you wonder, when did I become this? Answer, slowly. Quietly. One Schadenfreude moment at a time. Midnight. In bed. Can't sleep. Thinking. Something happened today. A close friend, really close, missed a huge opportunity. Their dream job. Rejected. They told you. Crying. Devastated. And what did you feel? In that first second, the hidden first second, that feeling. Schadenfreude. Ah, so they're not perfect either. Then empathy came. Real empathy. You hugged them. Comforted them. But now, lying in bed, you're thinking about that first second. And you hate yourself. What kind of friend am I? I even enjoyed my closest friend's pain. Here's the truth, you're not a bad friend. You're a human friend. That first second feeling, autonomous. Uncontrollable. Because it's 50,000 years of programming. But your next choice, hugging, comforting, truly empathizing, that's you. That's conscious. That's real. You are not that first second. You are the choice that follows. And understanding this truth, is liberating. The greatest modern source of Schadenfreude, success culture. Think about it. What do you see on social media? Success. Constant success. Everyone winning. Everyone rising. Everyone happy. Just started my new job. Blessed. Engaged. Love. Dream came true. Grateful. And you? Sitting on the couch, scrolling. Job hunting. Lonely. Lost. Every scroll, a stab. I'm not enough. I'm a failure. Then, someone falls. Got laid off. Tough times. And in that moment, relief. So it's not just me. Here's the 21st century disease, chronic comparison. Constant Schadenfreude hunger. We're exposed to success pornography hundreds of times a day. And our only relief becomes someone else's failure. Is this sustainable? No. Is this healthy? Absolutely not. Solution? Stop comparing. Stop watching others' journeys. Focus on your own. But how? Beyond digital detox, comparison detox. Deleting social media isn't enough. Comparison is everywhere. At work. In family. Among friends. Here's the real detox. Notice comparison moments. Every they did it, I didn't moment, stop. Notice. I'm comparing right now. Reframe, change the frame. They're successful, I'm not they're successful. That says nothing about my success. They're happy, I'm not they're happy. Great. I can be happy in different ways. Define your own metrics. What is success to you? Really? Not others' definition. Yours. Maybe success isn't wealth. It's peace. Maybe success isn't fame. It's being loved. Maybe success isn't having everything. It's having enough. Define it. And judge yourself only by that metric. Abundance mindset. Scarcity mindset, every slice they take reduces mine. Abundance mindset, the pie grows. Everyone can succeed. Their win doesn't block mine. This simple shift, this mental change, destroys the foundation of Schadenfreude. Because if someone winning doesn't mean you're losing, then someone losing doesn't mean you're winning. 1 year later. You started your Schadenfreude transformation journey exactly 1 year ago. You're in a small community center meeting. An anonymous group. Not Schadenfreude Anonymous, but something close. People share their stories, struggles, victories. A woman speaks, let's call her Grace. I'd been angry at my sister for years. She had everything. Beauty, brains, success. And me? I had nothing. And deep down, I was waiting for her to fall. Every day. Silence. Everyone listens. No judgment. And then one day, Grace continues, I realized. She never fell. Her life went on. But me? I never lived my life. Because I was too busy watching hers. Tears. And that day, something changed. I called her. For the first time. We really talked. And I learned she had struggles too. She had fears. She wasn't perfect. And something strange happened. When I learned she wasn't perfect, I didn't feel worse, I felt better. Because we weren't competing anymore. We were just two sisters. Applause. Tears. Connection. And you're sitting there, thinking about your own story. Your own transformation. 1 year ago, Schadenfreude was automatic. Every day. Every hour. Now? It still happens. But less often. Weaker. And most importantly, you're in control. Science says, reducing Schadenfreude increases life satisfaction. A 2022 longitudinal study, University of Amsterdam, tracked 5,000 participants for 3 years. Question: is there a correlation between Schadenfreude levels and life satisfaction? Answer: strong negative correlation. More Schadenfreude equals less happiness. Less Schadenfreude equals more happiness. Why? Because Schadenfreude keeps you in constant comparison mode stress. Disconnected from others' loneliness. Tying your self-worth to others' failures, unstable self-image. All of it leads to unhappiness. But the good news, the reverse works too. Less Schadenfreude, less comparison, more inner peace. More empathy, deeper connections, more oxytocin, more happiness. This isn't just a moral choice. It's a neurochemical reality. Moving away from Schadenfreude reprograms your brain to be happier. You're sitting in a park. Next to you, an old man in his 80s. Feeding pigeons. Conversation starts. This and that. Then, at one point, he tells you something. When I was young, he says, I had a coworker. Robert. He was always better than me. Smarter, more charismatic, more successful. And I envied him. For years. He pauses. Watches the pigeons. One day, Robert made a serious mistake. Lost a big account. The company nearly fired him. And me? I was happy. Deep inside. Finally, I thought. Finally he fell. Silence. But you know what happened? That mistake made Robert humble. He changed. Became a better person. And me? I still carried that same envy. 40 years later, we retired. And last year, Robert died. He turns to you. Eyes moist. And now I look back. And my only regret is that envy. That Schadenfreude. Because back then, with that energy, maybe I could have been friends with Robert. Maybe I could have learned from him. Maybe our lives would have been richer. But I chose. I chose envy. And now? He's gone. And I'm here. And I'm sorry. He hands you a small piece of paper. Written on it. Taking pleasure in others' downfall delays your own rise. Because your eyes are in the wrong place. True freedom, a life mostly without Schadenfreude. Imagine. A life. Not completely free of Schadenfreude, because that's impossible. But mostly. You wake up. Phone in hand, open social media. Someone's engagement photo. An old friend. Looks so happy. Old you? Maybe jealousy. Maybe a let's wait, they'll break up soon. Now? You smile. Really? Wow, that's beautiful. I'm so happy for them. And you comment. Sincerely. You go to work. In a meeting, a coworker is praised. Boss congratulates them. Old you? Felt uneasy inside. I worked harder. Now? You clap. Genuinely. Congrats, you earned it. And that night, you send them a celebratory message. You get home. On the news, a celebrity scandal. Fall from grace. Told you? Watched every detail. With that little satisfaction. Now? You change the channel. This doesn't concern me. I should focus on my life. And that night, as you lie in bed, something feels different inside. Lightness. Peace. Freedom. Because you're no longer dependent on others' journeys. You're on your journey. Night. Bathroom. Mirror. But this time it's different. You're looking at your face. Really looking. And you ask, who do I want to be? The answer is clear. Someone who takes pleasure in others' downfall? Or someone who contributes to others' rise? Someone who lives with envy? Or someone who believes in abundance? Someone defined by comparison? Or someone who creates their own path? And in that mirror, you make a promise. To yourself, I may feel Schadenfreude. That's normal. But I will not be controlled by Schadenfreude. I will choose. Every time. Empathy. Understanding. Humanity. This isn't easy. This isn't perfect. But this is the beginning. Final research, Schadenfreude and aging. Interesting finding, as people age, Schadenfreude levels decrease. Why? Because older people know something better than the young, time is limited. And spending it on envy, Schadenfreude, comparison, is waste. At 80, no one thinks, I wish I'd celebrated my co-worker's failure more. Everyone thinks, I wish I'd loved more. Connected more. Been more empathetic. The wisdom of old age can be learned in youth. If we listen. Here's the raw, unfiltered, naked truth. You are a human evolved to take pleasure in others' downfall. That's not your fault. But what you do with it, that's your responsibility. You'll feel Schadenfreude. Tomorrow. Next week. Next month. That's normal. That's human. But in every Schadenfreude moment, there's a choice point. That tiny, critical second. A few seconds. Maybe less. In that moment, two paths. Path 1, autopilot. Feed the Schadenfreude. Deserved it. Finally. Justice. Temporary dopamine. Then emptiness. Then repeat. The cycle continues. 50 years later, you're an old man. Full of regrets. Path 2, conscious choice. Notice the Schadenfreude. Ah, there it is again. Pause. Breathe. Dig beneath. What fear of mine does this reflect? Choose empathy. What is he going through right now? Take action. What can I do, or at least, what should I not do to avoid harm? The first path is easy. The second is hard. But here's the difference. The first path destroys you from the inside. The second builds you. Which do you choose? 1 year later, one coffee. Cafe. Familiar setting. A friend across from you. You're talking. You've changed, he says. You look lighter. More at peace. You smile. Yeah, I guess I have. What happened? He asks. Genuinely curious. And you tell him. Your Schadenfreude journey. How you noticed it. How you changed. Your friend thinks. Quietly. Then says, I feel it too. Taking pleasure in others' downfall. But I've never told anyone. I'm ashamed. Don't be, you say. It's human. But what you do with it, that's your choice. And in that moment, right then, something passes between you. Connection. Understanding. Shared humanity. Because here's the truth, we're all fighting the same fight. No one's perfect. But we can all choose. Every day. Every moment. If you've read this far, 60 minutes of content, it says something about you. You want to change. You want to be better. And that takes courage. Reading about Schadenfreude isn't easy. Because it means facing your own darkness. Accepting your own shadow. But you did it. And that's the first step. What happens now? What happens tomorrow? Tomorrow, you'll feel Schadenfreude again. Maybe a few times. And when that moment comes, remember this. I'm feeling Schadenfreude. That's normal. But I won't feed it. I'll choose empathy. I'll choose humanity. I'll choose freedom. And with every choice, every small, critical choice, something shifts. In you. In your brain. In your neural pathways. And one day, maybe a year from now, maybe 5, you'll look in the mirror. And you'll recognize the person there. The person who feels joy in others' rise. The person who meets others' pain with empathy. The person who walks their own path, unbothered by others' journeys. The person who is free. And that person? That's you. It always was. You just needed to remember. Call to action. Before closing this screen, make a promise to yourself. From today on, in every Schadenfreude moment, I'll pause. I'll take a breath. And I'll choose. Then, on a piece of paper or your phone, write this. Schadenfreude is not my master. I am aware of it. And I choose empathy, understanding, humanity. Read it every day, especially on hard days. And share in the comments, what did you feel while reading this? How do you experience Schadenfreude in your own life? Because your story, your honesty, your vulnerability could spark someone else's transformation. We're all on this path. Together. Not perfect. But trying. And that effort is everything. Final word. Taking pleasure in others' failure isn't your failure. It's your humanity. But what you do with that feeling, that's your character. And character is built with choices. Small choices. Daily choices. The choices you're making right now. So now, right now, choose. Who do you want to be? The answer is ready. It always was. Human. Flawed but striving. Falling but rising. Feeling Schadenfreude but choosing empathy. Human. And that's enough. It always was. Welcome to the journey. It will be hard. But you will be free. And freedom? Freedom is worth everything. Now, take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And feel it. You're changing. Right now. In this moment. And that's beautiful. Not goodbye. See you soon. Because this journey isn't over. It continues every day. In every choice. And you? You're ready. Let's go.